The basic question is like this. We pointed out a contradiction in the words of Rabbi Yochanan, and the same contradiction appears also in Halacha in Rambam. Namely, the question is, will there be mitzvahs in the future? So one place, in Masechta Nidr, Rabbi Yochanan says, unequivocally, a person can be buried in tachrichim, in shrouds of shatnez. He's going to get up and he's wearing shatnez by Tchiyas HaMeisim. No problem, no mitzvahs. Okay? No mitzvahs, no mitzvahs. The same Rabbi Yochanan says in Masechta Sanhedrin, where do we see a hint? And there's many. One of the hints in the Torah for Tchiyas HaMeisim, because the Torah says to give truma to Aaron. Truma is a percentage of one's produce that's to go to the kohen. The Torah says give it to Aaron. So Rabbi Yochanan says Aaron never went into Yisrael. What do you mean give it to Aaron? So here we see a time will come, you'll get revival of the dead, and you'll give him truma. Oh, absolute contradiction. So there will be mitzvahs by Tchiyas HaMeisim. The same contradictions in Rambam. The Rambam says you can bury someone in tachrichim of shatnez, of kilayim, no problem. The same Rambam says in the end of Hilchos Megillah that mitzvahs are forever, just like the Megillah. So the essence of the answer to the question is as follows. The mitzvah component, that becomes obsolete. What does that mean? The commandment component. A commandment conventionally means three things. There's the commander, there's a person you're commanding, and then a commandment. But after Mashiach comes, we're going to be so one with Hashem, there's no need to command it. We will organically and naturally express His will. So yes, commandments no longer. Halachas, yeah. The mitzvahs in terms of will they be happening? Of course they'll be happening. Will there be a need to command them? No. Because the Jew is one with God and the whole world is one with God. So what's going to happen to the shatnez? He was buried in tachrichim, in shrouds of shatnez. Answer, but Tchiyas HaMeisim, the strands will just spring apart. It'll be intolerable. They just won't be able to be together without the need to do anything. And the world will organically express the will of Hashem. Now, we went deeper, and to review that part now, and then we'll get to the sheet. There's two dimensions to mitzvahs, as we're saying now. There's the commandment part, and then the higher level, to explore that deeper. There's the agenda of mitzvahs. Why do mitzvahs? All levels of agenda. Refine yourself, refine the world, earn a share in Olam Haba, etc. That's the agenda of the mitzvah. That's not the essence of the mitzvah. That dimension of the mitzvah eventually has run its course. You've got your Olam Haba, you've refined yourself, you've refined the world, Mashiach has come. In other words, the agenda of the mitzvah to make the world a home for God, brick by brick, wiring by wiring, decoration by decoration, at some point is done. We've fixed the world. In the words of our sages, mitzvahs were given to refine people. That's describing the agenda component. At some point, the refinement is over. Gomarnu, you're refined. There's no more Yetzer Hara. The battle is over. So what's mitzvahs? Then, the deeper level of mitzvahs is not for an agenda. It is simply 613 ways the Eibush has chosen to express himself. Period. Not in order to. That's me. Anoichi, Hashem has invested himself in Torah and mitzvahs. That's how I express myself. So mitzvahs transcend ultimately the end, purpose, agenda, or reason. Just like God himself. Why does God exist? There's no reason for God's existence. If there is, then worship the reason and forget this God that you've been worshipping till now. Because he's just there because of a reason. Hashem is because he is. There's no reason. So Hashem decided, his free choice, to express himself 613 ways. That's in the end why mitzvahs will be happening. That's just God expressing himself to us in 613 ways. We're one with God. I'm just that general number plus all the minhagim in it. millions of ways. We'll be one with God in all of these ways. What's the point of the mitzvah? In order to fix, do it, go? No, it's just being. It's the era of the great Shabbos. Shabbos is not about fixing, doing, accomplishing. It's about sharing yourself with your soulmate, with your God, with your community. It's about being. You're not fixing, tampering or tinkering with anything. It's done. Every Shabbos is a foretaste of that. Done. It's about sharing yourself, period. Now we're going to go into detail like this. The Mishnah says in Pirkei Avos, in chapter 5, Machlokes that's not for the sake of heaven won't last. An example of that is Korach and his congregation. Korach Vadose. They were swallowed up, disappeared, goodbye Charlie. What's a machlokes that's the Shem Shemayim that's forever? Shammai and Hillel. The Arizal says, but wait a minute, the halacha is only like Hillel. So where's the two sides enduring forever? Now you could answer, yeah, we don't do like Shabbat, but we still learn his opinion, so it's still around. No, but the Mishnah is saying more than that. The two sides endure forever. There's only one side. We only do like Hillel. In 90% of the arguments, Allah is like Hillel, not like Shammai. So the Rizal famously answers, yes, but when Mashiach comes, the Allah will be like Shammai. So both sides do endure. Now the Rebbe says, but we really haven't resolved the problem. Because all you did was, first there was Hillel, now it's Shammai. The Mishnah says, both sides will endure. When will both sides endure? We're going to answer that. Now let's begin now our journey. So you've got this page in front of you, friends. I said, the guys that are watching on the phone, it's the smaller of the ruled of the chart. Now we'll go down, yeah. We'll go, each column will go down. So the top says, like this, we're dividing all of history into 3 epochs. Just to look at those. From the giving of the Torah till Mashiach comes. Now, of course, there's also the preparation before that. That's the Avos and the Imois, which we're not discussing now, but that's critical. The groundwork that they created. And we'll see how they play out over the course of history as well. How they created the whole groundwork for which follows. But the mission, the covenant with the Eibishter begins. The marriage at Matan Torah. And then stage 1 ends Yemoisa Mashiach. Then there's the next column that stands for Yemoisa Mashiach, which the Zohar says lasts 40 years of different opinions. And then there's a third epoch, friends. Tchias HaMesim. The revival of the dead is a third epoch. And we're going to see now the evolution in halacha, as it were, in these 3 stages. Let's begin the first column. We're going to go down vertically. Mimatan Torah ad Yemoisa Mashiach. Why is the halacha kehillel? Why is it that most of the arguments we rule like Hillel? The answer is, who is Hillel and what does he embody? Midas HaChesed. We all know the story of Hillel and Shammai. Shammai is Gevurah, Hillel is Chesed. He's all kindness and embracing. What's the nature of Chesed, friends? The nature of Chesed is, by definition, is one has and one bestows it and gives it to one that doesn't have. In the words of the text there, milamayla lamata, from above to below. Moreover, Chesed, pure Chesed, treats everybody equally. You don't have to deserve, yes deserve, don't deserve. Pure Chesed, everybody gets everything. Kulam b'shava, all are equal. Therefore, the halacha is like Hillel because the emphasis is on action. From now till Mashiach comes, the main thing is do the mitzvah. When it comes to action, friends, we're all exactly the same. Moishe Rabbeinu puts on the same tefillin as you do. What does it differ? His intent, understanding, experience, it's a whole different universe. But the action, it comes down the same. Kulam b'shav, Maisa, mitzad apel mamish, when it comes to action, Maisa, action, hachitzonius, which is the external dimension of the mitzvah, as opposed to, we'll soon see, the intent, the understanding, the love, the awe of God, the kavanah. But the action, kulam b'shav, all are equal. In brackets, concluding the brackets, Avodas HaBeinonim. The whole point of Tanya, the first book of Tanya, is to say and to explain and show us how, at the action level, everybody can be loyal to God 24/7. You're not going to change the way you feel. You'll be attracted to all the temptations of the world and all the vices of the world. But we can learn to exercise self-control under all circumstances. This is something every human being can master. That's the whole point of Tanya. And that's the shlichus, basically the mission of the Jewish people from the giving of the Torah till Mashiach comes. It's about halavai beinoni, it's about action, and that's for its Hillel, because Hashem's mitzvahs have come down, chesed, in a way that everybody can do it equally, because why? The emphasis is what? Action. Clear? Next box below that. This is much deeper. I'm going to make it brief now. We'll revisit it a little bit. What's the source? Hashoyre shel chesed. The source of chesed within Hashem himself. I'll just read the words and I'll just briefly explain it. Oir habligvul tachles hagilui. His infinite light, absolute revelation. When Hashem chose to create the world, as explained in Kabbalah, the first thing he does is he manifests the Oir Ein Sof, this infinite light. And this infinite light that has no end, as it were, is the source of chesed, that pure chesed has no end. It comes down, it's like water, to the lowest. Water will find the lowest level. Nothing can stop it. It will work its way down. Because it's rooted, we're saying the root of chesed, of Hillel, of observing mitzvahs this way, it's an expression of God's infinite light that embraces everybody. Again, why? And it comes down to the lowest level, because that's the point. Everybody's part of this great mission, and it's about action. Now, we mentioned the next column, but the next box below that. Somewhat clear? We'll soon contrast that with Moishe Mashiach, which is higher than the Oir HaBligvul, but that's for the next column. This corresponds to Avraham, the patriarchs, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and also the matriarchs, but we're not talking so much about the Mois, but the Avos. Avraham embodied Gemilas Chasodim, Maisa, Chesed. He's the first of the Avos, because that's the first Avodah. It's about Gemilas Chasodim, it's about action, it's about reaching out to the furthest points, engaging the world, doing, and leaving nobody out. That's Avraham. On so many levels. He just, like Hillel, he embodies chesed, he starts the whole avodah, it's about action, he invites the Arabs into his home, they worship with dust on their feet, he feeds them food, make a bracha, do the mitzvah. Next column below that, now, there's a star at the bottom, there's a star by the word Avraham. Why are we talking about Avraham? Because there's a principle, you see the star, it says in Sefer Yetzirah, which is a famous Kabbalah work, authored by Adam Edition, no less. He was one of the authors. The beginning is wedged in the end. So the way history plans out, the template was given in the beginning. Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, their lives are a microcosm of the way history will pan out over the next millennia. Because the beginning all comes out at the end. And another quote, which we're going to say tonight, Soif Maaseh Machshavat Tchila. The final act is reflective of the first thought. When you have a project, first you have the final, want to build a house. The first thing you think of is your dream home. Then you go through a million processes to get there. And the final act reflects the first thought. So the beginning of history, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, that's like God's first thought. That's the model, the enduring eternal model, which will play out in the end throughout history. So that's why Avraham is the first stage, corresponding to Hillel, Chesed, action, everybody equally. Now, next box, the B'Torah Gufa. So what emphasis in Torah learning, what dimension of Torah are we concentrating on for these thousands of years since the Torah was given to Mashiach comes? The answer is Nigla. The main emphasis is learning Talmud and Halacha, what to do, how to do, when to do. Why? Because the mission is engage the world, fix the world externally. Meaning to say basically, behaviorally. Your behavior, the world's behavior. So how do you do that? You got to learn Gemara, learn Mishnah, learn Halacha, and it's the instruction manual for behavior, to be the Beinani, to be a mensch, to tame the world, to fix the world. Clear? In the Be'ikr, next box, everybody knows the whole point of creation is what? To make this world a home for God. There are stages in making the home. First, you got to build the foundation, put up the walls, and put in the infrastructure, the basic Beinim Habinyan. You got to build the building. Atfan is the world. It's not pretty. It's not delicate. It's not so delicate. Digging in the bricks and the mortar. It's heavy. It's action. It's tangible, and everybody's got a part in it. And that's what we're doing for 3,000 years. We're building the walls, the basic infrastructure, the foundation of making the world a home for God, as opposed to in decoration and the final touches. That's your Moishe Mashiach. That's the next stage. I'm going to see that's Shammai, that's Yitzchak. But now it's all about the nitty gritty. Get down there, like literally digging. Chesed, get down there, dig. Bring it down. Now the next Be'ikr, what level of godliness are we relating to? Primarily now, there's three, we've learned at great length. There's the essence of Hashem, and then Hashem revealed himself in two basic ways. In creation or beyond creation. Finite or infinite. What's the main level we're relating to God? Is as creator. As God is invested in creation, fills the world. Of course, this is the external level of godliness. We're starting from the outside and we're working in. Next column quickly, let's begin. Yemaisa, we'll just do a few of them. Yemaisa Mashiach, as that Izal says, now that we've made the house, the basic structure is up. The plumbing is there, the foundation is there, the walls, the bricks, the windows, the structure, the edifice is there. Now what do we have to do now? Now it's not so much the action. Now it's the nuance, it's the feeling. Now, halacha keshamai. What's shamai? Midas agvura. Gvura means judgment, not everybody equal. Everybody's judged on their own merit. It's milamata lamayla. Gvura is the opposite, it's from below to above. Where do you stand? What's your avodah? Avodah pnimius. This is your heart, your mind, kavana. Not the same. Everybody, we're all on different levels. This is avodah tzadikim. Now we've moved beyond behavior. Now there's no more struggle with what's right and what's wrong. Done. So now what's the avodah? Greater love, greater awe, greater understanding. This is already Shammai, very demanding, very exacting. This is from below to above. This is each person climbing the ladder, experiencing Hashem on his level. Let's leave the next box because and that's Keneged Yitzchak. That corresponds to Yitzchak, who is Gevura. All of them, Allah said, the Gemara says we're going to say to Yitzchak, the modern Shabbos, when Mashiach comes, Ki Atovinu. Now we conclude the first Bracha Shemnesser, Magen Avram. We mentioned all three, but we conclude Avram because the main thing now is Chesed, action. But then the Nusach Shemnesser is going to change. And how we're going to conclude, what are we going to say? Yitzchak. Because what's going to be the emphasis then? Internal Avodah. Avodah Satfila. Yitzchak is a korban. Yitzchak is placed on the altar. He's going up. He's sacrificing himself. This is internal. This is fire. Avram is like water. Yitzchak is fire. Avodah Hasalev. Now it's the service of the heart. And therefore then when Mashiach comes, next box, but Torah Gufa, what level of Torah will we engage then in? Not how to do. We did it already. Now it's Pnimius HaTorah, the inner dimension, Torah Sanister. What are we doing now? The Vadra, L'Saka, now we're fixing and refining and elevating our inner self. And that's an endless pursuit. That's the avodah of the tzaddik. In the metaphor, the next box of the home, what are we doing when Mashiach comes? Be'ikr, menakim and matzachtachim. We're cleaning, we're polishing the home for God. It's the nuance. And that's why before Mashiach comes, we'll stop here, Chassidus was revealed, because it's already beginning, in the last moments of Golus, we're beginning now, not just action, but love of God, awe of God, intent, appreciation, nuance, decoration. Chassidus added the whole dimension to Judaism, like being like, but 1,000 years we didn't need this. Answer is we didn't. 1,000 years was just, the main thing was the action. Now it's a nuance. It's a whole service of the heart of Hashem to open the whole new world. Why? Because it's the Friday afternoon of history. And now it's the time where we're starting already the process of decorating the home. And this is all about feelings and transcendence and so on. We'll continue Be'ez Hashem next week.